The space around Earth's moon had never seen anything like what was about to happen. 3 Galactic Council monitoring ships hung in the darkness like floating jewels. Their hulls were made of crystal that bent light around them, making them hard. To see the alien crews inside thought they were watching primitive humans from a safe distance. Commander Thexel was the leader of the Council ship called Infinite Wisdom. His body was made of living crystal that glowed with soft blue light. He had been watching human ships for weeks and was not impressed by what he saw. Their technology looked crude, and their energy signatures were weak status of the human response. Commander Thexel asked his sensor operator. They appear to be gathering, their entire fleet. The operator replied through musical tones. 17 of their largest ships with many smaller craft energy signatures match their known primitive technology. Any response to our ultimatum, they sent a message saying they would demonstrate their decision shortly. Typical human drama, nothing more. Commander Thexel shifted his crystal body in what was like laughing for his species. Let them parade their ships. It will make their surrender more educational for our records. What the Council monitoring ships did not know was that Dr. Kangman's modifications had been hidden inside the human technology. The upgrades looked normal to alien sensors, but they had completely changed how the human ships worked. It was like putting a race car engine inside an old truck-on. The Sol Pride Fleet Admiral Sujin watched her tactical display with cold satisfaction. The 3 Council monitors were exactly where intelligence had predicted they would be. Are all ships ready? All vessels. Report modifications complete and tested. Commander Jae-sung confirmed. The Council monitors are keeping their positions just as we expected. Dr. Kangman, final systems check. Admiral Sujin ordered. The old scientist's hands moved quickly over his controls. All exotic matter controllers online. Quantum field generators at full power. Gravity distortion systems synchronized across the fleet admiral. Sujin smiled. The Council says our technology is primitive. Let's show them what primitive looks like. Begin. Demonstration protocol. What happened next would be talked about in military schools across the galaxy for hundreds of years, assuming any of the monitoring ships survived to tell the story. The human fleet did not attack in any normal way. Instead, space itself seemed to bend and twist. The Sol Pride and her escort ships did not speed up. They folded the distance between themselves and the Council monitors, appearing instantly within weapons range through a method that broke every known law of physics. Impossible, Commander Thexel gasped as alarms began screaming throughout his ship. They cannot control space-time at that scale. No species has ever achieved. His words were cut off as the human weapons opened fire. But these were not normal weapons. The human ships launched something that Council sensors could not identify. The attacks were not moving through space. They were creating temporary holes in reality itself, bypassing shields and armor by simply ignoring the forces that made such defenses work. The second Council monitor, called Eternal Vigilance, tried to escape using standard faster-than-light travel. The ship's quantum tunnel began forming space, bending around the vessel as it prepared to jump to hyperspace. Then the human cruiser Busan's Hammer did something that should have been impossible. It reached into the forming tunnel and collapsed it from the inside, trapping the Council ship in normal space. How the monitor's captain sent a desperate message. This violates the Heisenberg protocols. No species can control quantum tunnels during formation. Captain Donghyun's voice came through the communication channel, calm and professional. That's your problem right there. You have been following protocols. We have been breaking them. The third Council monitor, called Serene Judgment, managed to send a frantic transmission to the Galactic Council before human interference cut off all communication. The message was brief but contained enough information to send shockwaves through the Council. Chambers Council Prime, the humans have technology beyond our understanding. They are controlling basic forces in ways our science says is impossible. Request immediate. The transmission ended as the human destroyer. Inchun's revenge demonstrated what Dr. Kangman's team had discovered about the relationship between consciousness and quantum mechanics. The Council ship did not explode or shut down. It simply stopped being relevant to local space-time, existing in a state that was neither destroyed nor functional. Throughout the demonstration, which lasted exactly 17 minutes, the human fleet moved with perfect coordination. Their ships appeared and disappeared at will. Their weapons struck targets through dimensions the Council did not know existed, and their defenses operated on principles that made traditional tactics useless. The human ships moved like dancers in a ballet, each one knowing exactly where the others would be without needing to communicate. They fought like a single organism with many bodies working together toward one goal. When it was over, the 3 Council monitoring ships hung in space completely intact but utterly helpless. Their crews were unharmed, but their ship systems had been adjusted. Every weapon was disabled, every communication system was restricted, and every sensor was limited to short-range scanning only. The alien crews sat in their ships, staring at their dead controls in shocked silence. They had weapons that could destroy planets, but they could not even send a distress signal. The humans had not destroyed them. They had simply made them irrelevant. Fleet Admiral Sujin's image appeared on the main screens of all 3 ships at the same time. Her expression was pleasant and professional, like a teacher explaining something to students' commanders. I trust this demonstration has been educational. As you can see, humanity has reached a decision about the Council's generous offer of Category C labor status. Paused, letting the words sink in while the alien crews tried to process what had just happened to them. We decline. Furthermore, we are extending our own offer to the Galactic Council. Humanity is prepared to share our technological advances with species that approach us as equals. We are also prepared to defend ourselves against species that do not. The transmission ended, leaving the Council commanders staring at blank screens in complete silence. Within hours, quantum communication systems across Council space were carrying the news. The species that had been dismissed as primitive had just demonstrated technology that made the Council's most advanced achievements look like Stone Age tools. But perhaps more importantly, they had done it without killing a single Council member. Despite having every reason to want revenge, the 3 monitoring ships had been captured, not destroyed. Their crews had been left unharmed. The human fleet had demonstrated overwhelming power, and then chosen mercy. This was not just a military victory. This was a statement about what humanity valued most. The Galactic Council was about to learn that humanity's greatest strength was not their technology. It was their choice to be better than their enemies. Even when they had every reason not to be, the galaxy would never be the same. The emergency meeting of the Galactic Council happened within hours of getting reports from the monitoring ships. The great chamber, that was usually filled with confident alien chatter, now buzzed with nervous energy and barely hidden panic. Holographic displays showed analysis of the human demonstration, and every calculation pointed to the same impossible truth. Council Prime Vextar's crystal body flickered with unstable energy as he spoke to the assembly. The data has been checked by 17 different analysis networks. The humans have shown abilities that go beyond our understanding of physics. Counselor Zephyr coiled her snake-like body, nervously twitching with worry. This is impossible. No species develops technology that jumps forward this fast. They were using chemical rockets 50 years ago. Yet here we are, rumbled Counselor Gruten, whose massive stone body filled his section of the chamber. 3 of our monitoring ships are trapped in human space, their crews unharmed but their ships neutered. The bird-like Velteran representative ruffled his feathers in distress. Our biology experts are confused. Human brain chemistry should not be capable of the thinking jumps needed for such advancement. Their neural patterns are chaotic, unfocused, prone to emotional decisions. Perhaps interrupted the Nexus Collective's main robot, its mechanical voice cutting through the organic chatter. That chaos is exactly what we failed to recognize as valuable. An uncomfortable silence fell over the chamber as the meaning sank in. The Council's entire evaluation system was based on logical progression, predictable development, and following established scientific rules. Humanity had just shown that none of those assumptions were absolute. Dr. Yethra, the Council's chief science advisor, activated her presentation system. I have completed a first analysis of human technology development patterns. Their advancement does not follow any known evolutionary model where other species develop along predictable paths. Humans seem to improvise, explained Council Prime. Vextar commanded, take their space travel, for example. Every other species that achieves faster than light travel does so by mastering energy control first, then applying those principles to spacetime distortion. Humans appear to have developed both at the same time using methods that should not work according to established physics. She paused, her own scientific worldview clearly shaken. Their approach to problem-solving appears to be based on trial and error, intuitive leaps and what they call thinking outside the box. They do not respect the limitations that govern other species because they do not believe those limitations are absolute. Counselor Thexall recently returned from the monitoring ship Infinite Wisdom added his testimony. During the demonstration, I monitored their communications. They were casual. They discussed reality-bending technology with the same tone other species use to discuss food preferences. This is not advanced science to them, this is Tuesday. The chamber erupted in nervous chatter as representatives tried to process this information. The species that had been dismissed as below average had just redefined what was possible. There is more. Dr. Yethra continued, calling for attention. Analysis of their demonstration reveals something even more significant. They could have destroyed our monitoring ships instantly. Their weapon systems were clearly capable of complete destruction. Instead, they chose to disable and capture strategic thinking, suggested the Cretan observer, who had been quietly taking notes. They wanted to send a message without starting a war. Novextar's harmonic voice carried a note of something like fear. It is worse than that. They were being merciful. The word hung in the air like poison gas. Mercy was a concept most council species understood intellectually, but rarely practiced. In a galaxy where survival often meant eliminating threats, showing restraint toward a potential enemy was either supreme confidence or supreme foolishness. Council Prime Counselor Gruten's rumbling voice drew attention. We must address the immediate situation. The humans have rejected our offer and demonstrated superior capabilities. What is our response? Before Vextar could answer, the chamber's communication system activated, displaying a priority transmission from human space. Ambassador Hyunwoo appeared on the main screen, his expression calm and professional. Council Prime honored. Delegates, I trust you have had time to review the recent demonstration. Humanity would like to extend a formal invitation to the Galactic Council. The chamber fell silent. Waiting. Earth will be hosting a diplomatic conference in 30 standard days. Any council member species is welcome to attend as our guests to discuss mutual cooperation, technology sharing, and the future of galactic civilization. Ambassador Hyunwoo's smile was polite, but somehow managed to convey vast depths of confidence. We believe there is much we can learn from each other. After all, humanity may have developed some interesting technology, but we are always eager to meet new friends. The transmission ended, leaving the council in stunned silence. Friends, Counselor. Zephyr hissed, her voice filled with disbelief. They are treating us as equals after we offered them slavery. Not equals, corrected the Nexus Collective's robot superiors. They are offering to share technology they could have used to conquer us, Council. Prime Vextar's crystal form pulsed with rapid energy fluctuations as he processed the situation. 3 days ago, humanity had been a rejected applicant suitable only for manual labor. Now they were the most powerful military force in known space, casually inviting their former judges to a diplomatic conference. The reversal was complete and terrifying. The species that had been dismissed as primitive now held all the cards. They could have used their demonstration to demand tribute or territory, or revenge. Instead, they were offering friendship motion to reconsider humanity's council application. Vextar announced, his harmonic voice carrying throughout the chamber. Seconded came from multiple representatives at the same time. All in favor, the vote was unanimous. Every species that had laughed at humanity 3 days ago now desperately wanted them as allies. As the chamber began planning for the diplomatic mission to Earth, none of the council members realized they were dancing to humanity's tune. The entire sequence of events had been carefully orchestrated from the moment the human delegation left the council chambers in humiliation. Humanity had not just developed superior technology, they had developed superior strategy. They had turned their rejection into an opportunity, their dismissal into leverage, their humiliation into victory. The aliens had thought they were teaching humanity a lesson about galactic hierarchy. Instead, humanity had taught them a lesson about underestimating your opponent. The Galactic Council was about to discover that humans were very good at playing the long game. They were patient, calculating, and utterly ruthless when necessary, but they were also something the Council had never encountered before. They were forgiving. The species that could have conquered the galaxy was choosing to save it instead. The aliens were about to learn that sometimes the most dangerous thing you can do is show mercy to someone who deserves revenge, because it means they are strong enough to choose a better path, and that made them stronger than anyone who chose the easy one. 3 weeks after the terrible meeting at Council Central Fleet, Admiral Sujin stood in the command center of humanity's most advanced starship, the Soul Pride. The ship was huge and beautiful, with smooth metal walls covered in glowing screens and holographic displays around her. The smartest humans in the galaxy worked with intense focus. Their faces were lit up by blue and green lights from their computers. The Soul Pride moved through space like a graceful dancer, even though the aliens had called human technology primitive. The ship was proof that humans could build amazing things when they put their minds to it. Admiral Sujin was a strong woman who had fought in 3 wars before humans ever met aliens. She had short black hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. When she spoke, everyone listened because they knew she had never lost a battle status report. She commanded in a voice that carried authority throughout the command center. Commander Jae-sung looked up from his tactical display. He was a young man with quick hands and a brilliant mind. All human colonies have received the secret briefings. Military commanders are excited about the response plan. Dr. Kangmin research teams have finished studying the Council technology. From the embassy recordings, Admiral Sujin raised one eyebrow. And what did they find? Dr. Kangmin stepped forward with a small smile on his old, weathered face. He was the kind of scientist who got excited about impossible problems. Fascinating, Admiral. Their technology is incredibly advanced in some areas. Their energy control and materials are centuries ahead of ours. But they have made some interesting assumptions about the limits of physics that we have not explained, Admiral Sujin said. They have never met a species that solves problems the way we do. Their technology is elegant, efficient, and follows predictable paths. Ours is. Dr. Kangman paused, looking for the right word. Chaotic, improvised. We break rules they did not even know existed. Lieutenant. Commander Hana, the fleet's communications officer, interrupted with barely controlled excitement. Admiral, we are getting responses from the colony worlds. The mining colonies on Kepler 442b have developed something interesting. The farm settlements on Ross 128b have been working on their own projects, and the research station on Proxima Centauri. What about Proxima Centauri? Admiral Sujin asked. They say they have solved something the Council considers impossible. They are asking permission to demonstrate. Admiral Sujin felt a familiar tingle of excitement, the same feeling she had before every major battle in her career. Granted. What is our fleet status? 17 battleships, 43 cruisers, and over 200 support ships spread across human space, Commander Jae-sung reported. Not impressive by Council standards, but every ship has been fitted with new technology from our research divisions, good, and our allies. Commander Yoon Seo, head of diplomatic operations, stepped forward. The Galactic Council's dismissal of humanity has not gone unnoticed by other species. We have been contacted by several smaller civilizations who were also rejected or offered slave status. The Cretan Empire, the Yith Confederation, and the Free Worlds of Andromeda are all interested in talking. Admiral Sujin nodded thoughtfully. The enemy of my enemy. What is the Council doing? According to our spy networks, they are already planning how to divide human territory. Commander Yoon Seo said. The Felterans want our farm worlds. The Nexus robots want our factories. The Zephyri have claimed rights to our asteroid mines. They are acting like we have already surrendered. A flash of something dangerous crossed Admiral Sujin's face. They are going to regret that assumption, Dr. Kangman. How long until your teams can upgrade the entire fleet? The basic improvements are already installed. The advanced modifications will take another week. But Admiral Dr. Kangman paused, his eyes bright with scientific excitement. What we have developed is not just better than their technology. It is a completely different approach to the basic forces of the universe. Will it work in combat? Admiral Su Jin asked. Captain Dong Hyun entered the command center carrying a datapad in his hand. Admiral, I have just finished reviewing the tactical assessments. Based on what we observed during the embassy visit, their weapons and defenses are incredibly powerful, but also incredibly predictable. They follow established patterns, use recognized energy frequencies, and operate within accepted parameters. And ours, Admiral Sujin asked. Captain Dongyun's smile was like a hunting wolf. Ours do not. Admiral Sujin felt the familiar satisfaction she had experienced when defeating pirate fleets in the early days of human expansion. Excellent. How many council ships are currently in human space? 3 monitoring ships keeping watch on Earth and our major colonies. Commander Yoon Seo reported, they are staying at what they consider a respectful distance while waiting for our response to their ultimatum. Perfect, they will have front row seats. Admiral Sujin turned to address the entire command center. Ladies and gentlemen, the Galactic Council has made their position clear. They believe humanity is below average, suitable only for manual labor under their supervision. They have already begun dividing our territory among themselves. The room fell silent except for the quiet hum of advanced technology. They are about to learn why that was a mistake. Dr. Kangmin, implement the advanced modifications immediately. Commander Jae-sung, prepare the fleet for deployment. Lieutenant Commander Hana, send a message to all human colonies. Operation Proving Ground is now active, Admiral. What should I tell the Council monitoring ships? Hana asked. Admiral Sujin's smile was sharp enough to cut steel. Tell them we have reached a decision about their generous offer. We will be demonstrating our response shortly, as the command center burst into controlled activity. Admiral Sujin looked out at the stars through the main view screen. Somewhere out there, 47 alien civilizations were congratulating themselves on putting humanity in its place. The aliens thought they had won. They thought they had solved the human problem. They thought humanity would either accept slavery or face extinction alone in the darkness. But humans had something the aliens did not understand. Humans had rage that burned cold and patient. Humans had pride that would not bend. Humans had stubbornness that turned impossible odds into motivation. Most importantly, humans had each other. Every colony, every ship, every research station was working together with the same goal: show the galaxy that dismissing humanity was the biggest mistake anyone had ever made. The aliens had called human technology primitive. They had laughed at human science. They had treated human achievements like the work of children. In a few days they would learn the difference. Between primitive and unpredictable, they would discover that sometimes the most dangerous enemy is the one you underestimate. Admiral Sujin watched the stars and planned the storm that was coming. The Galactic Council had no idea what they had unleashed. They were about to find out. The massive space station called Council Central floated in the darkness between 3 star systems. Its metal walls stretched for miles in every direction, and thousands of alien ships docked at its many ports. The station was home to the most powerful group in the galaxy, the Galactic Council. Inside the great meeting hall, 47 different alien species sat in their special chairs. Some looked like giant crystals that glowed with inner light. Others had tentacles instead of arms or feathers instead of skin. The air was filled with strange sounds as the aliens talked to each other in clicks, whistles, and mental thoughts. At the center of the huge room stood 3 humans. They looked very small compared to the giant aliens around them. Ambassador Hyunwoo wore a simple black suit that looked plain next to the shiny armor and energy shields the aliens wore. Dr. Minjung held a datapad in her hands and tried to stay calm. Captain Donghyun stood straight like a soldier, but his eyes watched everything carefully. The leader of the council was called Council Prime Vexstar. He was 12 feet tall and made of living crystal that changed colors when he spoke. His voice was like music mixed with thunder, and it made the whole room shake when he talked. Council Prime Vexstar looked down at the 3 humans like they were insects. He spoke in his alien language, but machines translated his words into human speech. The translation made his voice sound flat and cold, but everyone Could hear the anger in its species name human planet Earth technology level. Very low council application rejected. The words hit the human team like a punch. Hyunwoo kept his face calm, but his hands made fists. Dr. Minjung took a deep breath and tried not to show her anger. Captain Donghyun did not move, but his jaw got tight. Hyunwoo stepped forward and spoke in a clear, strong voice. With respect, Council Prime. Humanity has built faster than light ships. We have colonies on 17 worlds. We have clean energy that could help everyone. Before he could finish talking, another alien interrupted her. This was Counselor Zephyr, who looked like a giant snake with arms. Her voice was like steam coming from a hot pot. Your ships are just big rockets. With better fuel, your power plants are like caveman fires. Your math is wrong, your science is baby level, and your people fight each other like wild animals. All around the room, other aliens made sounds of agreement. The bird-like Velterans fluffed, their feathers in what was like laughing for them. The robot aliens called Nexus just showed numbers on their screens. The numbers said humans had only a 0.02% chance of helping. The Galaxy Hyunwoo felt angry, but he did not show it. Instead, he stepped closer to the Council Prime. Our people have survived ice ages and wars and diseases that killed millions. We have fought through disasters that would have destroyed other species. We never give up. Council Prime Vextar made a sound like breaking glass that meant he was not impressed. Every species survives long enough to reach space. This is normal. This is not special. This is just basic survival, Doctor. Minjung could not stay quiet anymore. She stood up from her chair, and her voice shook with emotion. Our doctors have cured diseases that hurt us for thousands of years. Our artists have made beautiful things for centuries. Our scientists have learned secrets of the universe through hard work. And the Council Prime cut her off with one word: useless. The word echoed through the giant room like thunder. Every alien in the hall heard it, and many of them made sounds of agreement. The humans felt the weight of 47 different civilizations all saying that everything humans had ever done was worthless. Council Prime Vextar continued talking, and his crystal body flashed with bright colors. Your species shows no special abilities worthy of council membership. Your technology is copied from others. Your science is elementary school level. Your culture is boring. Humanity is below average. The room became very quiet except for the humming of machines that kept the air breathable for all the different aliens. Hyunwoo felt like the entire galaxy was telling him that his people were nothing. Captain Donghyun moved his hand slightly toward his weapon, but alien security systems saw this right away. However, Council Prime Vextar said, after a long pause, the Council recognizes that Earth sits in a useful place along our trade routes. We hereby make your species Category C workers suitable for basic mining and simple factory work under the watch of more advanced civilizations. The three humans looked at each other with barely hidden rage. Doctor. Minjung gripped her datapad so hard her knuckles turned white. Captain Donghyun breathed very carefully, the way soldiers do when they are trying not to lose their temper. Hyunwoo straightened his shoulders and looked directly at the Council Prime. His voice was very calm but somehow scary at the same time. And if we refuse this generous offer, then your species stays alone, cut off from galactic trade technology and protection. Without council membership or worker status, humanity will stop growing and eventually face extinction as more advanced species expand into your territory. This is not a threat, Ambassador. This is simply reality. The air in the room felt heavier, as everyone understood what this meant. 47 advanced civilizations had just decided that humanity was worth nothing more than slave labor if they were lucky. Then Hyunwoo smiled. It was a polite smile, but it was also terrifying in a way that made several aliens step backward. I see. Well, Council Prime, I believe you have made your position quite clear. We will need some time to consider your offer. You have one standard galactic cycle, Vextar announced. Choose wisely, humans. This is the only path forward for your species. As the council meeting ended, and aliens began leaving the room, many of them talked about how stupid humans were for even asking to join the council. None of them noticed the small recording device that Dr. Minjung had been using during the whole meeting. None of them saw the secret message that Captain Dongyun was already sending back to Earth through quantum communications. The aliens had no idea what they had just started. They thought they had put humanity in its place. They thought they had shown the humans who was in charge. They thought the matter was settled. But humans had survived ice ages and world wars and plagues and disasters that would have killed other species. And humans had learned something very important over their long history. Sometimes the biggest mistake you can make is underestimating someone who has nothing left to lose. As the three humans walked out of the council hall, their footsteps echoed in the empty corridors. Behind them, 47 alien civilizations congratulated themselves on handling the human problem. Ahead of them lay a choice that would change the galaxy forever. The Galactic Council had just made the worst mistake in their 10,000-year history. They just did not know it yet. The new alliance. The diplomatic conference on Earth was unlike anything the Galactic Council had expected to see. Instead of primitive buildings, they found a stunning complex that seemed to grow from the ground itself, like living crystal. The walls changed color based on the emotions of people nearby, and artificial gravity adjusted automatically for different alien body types. Council Prime Vexstar stood before massive windows that looked out over Earth's Pacific Ocean. The humans had guided the weather patterns to create aurora-like displays in the afternoon sky. The demonstration was not showing off. It was art created just to be beautiful. Beautiful, is it not? Dr. Minjung approached carrying 2 cups of liquid that smelled perfect for each species' biochemistry. We have been working on atmosphere control not for war but for beauty. Seemed like a waste to only use this technology for practical things. Vexter accepted the drink, his crystal body automatically analyzing its molecular makeup. Perfect. Not just chemically right for his species, but actually optimized for his individual needs down to the smallest detail. How he asked, his harmonic voice carrying genuine curiosity, rather than the dismissive tone he had used during their first meeting. Pattern recognition. Dr. Minjung replied simply, "Humans are very good at seeing patterns that do not seem to have obvious connections. We look at quantum mechanics, biological chemistry, and artistic expression, and somehow our brains find ways to make them work together." Throughout the conference complex, similar conversations were happening between human hosts and alien delegates. The formal meetings had been educational, with humans sharing technology that revolutionized everything, from energy production to medical treatment, but the informal talks were proving even more valuable. In the gardens, Commander Jae-sung discussed military strategy with Counselor Gruten. Their conversation revealed how human tactical thinking used elements of psychology, art, and chaos theory that made their combat effectiveness nearly impossible to predict. You do not just fight battles. Gruten observed his massive stone form, somehow managing to show amazement. You compose them like music. Every good fight tells a story. Jae-sung agreed. The key is making sure you are the author, not just a character. In the technology halls, Dr. Kangmin explained human engineering principles to a gathering of council scientists. We do not always understand why something works before we build it. Sometimes we build it to find out why it works. Dr. Yethra, the council's chief science advisor, found this approach both fascinating and terrifying. But the risk of catastrophic failure is part of the learning process. Dr. Kangman finished with a grin. We have had plenty of catastrophic failures, each one taught us something valuable. The most important breakthrough came during a discussion between Fleet Admiral Sujin and the military representatives of various council species. They had been reviewing recordings of the human demonstration, trying to understand how such coordination was possible. Your ships moved as if they shared a single mind. Noted, Commander Thexal. No communication delay, perfect timing. How Admiral Sujin smiled and gestured to Lieutenant Commander Hana, who activated a holographic display showing the human neural network that had operated during the battle. We were not sharing consciousness, Hana explained. We were sharing trust. The display showed communication patterns between human ships during the fight. Instead of rigid command structures or predetermined battle plans, the fleet had operated more like a jazz band, with each ship improvising while maintaining harmony with the overall song. Your species fights as individuals following orders, Admiral Sujin observed. We fight as a collective, choosing to cooperate. The difference is subtle but significant. As the conference continued, patterns emerged that surprised everyone. Involved human technology was not just more advanced in certain areas, it was fundamentally different in its approach to problem solving. Where council species developed solutions through logical steps and careful testing, humans seemed to skip entire steps through intuitive understanding and creative thinking. But perhaps more importantly, humans consistently chose cooperation over control. Even with overwhelming technological superiority, they had spent the entire conference asking what they could learn from other species rather than dictating terms. On the final day of the conference Council Prime, Vextar addressed the assembled delegates in the main auditorium. His crystal form had been pulsing with stable, calm energy since arriving. On Earth, a stark contrast to the worried fluctuations he had displayed during the emergency council session. The Galactic Council has reached a unanimous decision, he announced, his harmonic voice carrying clearly through the chamber. Humanity is hereby granted full council membership with all rights and privileges. The human delegation received the news with polite applause, but Ambassador Hyunwoo raised his hand for attention. "We are honored by the council's offer," he said, his voice carrying the same calm professionalism he had maintained throughout their humiliating rejection weeks earlier. However, humanity would like to propose an alternative. The chamber fell silent, delegates exchanging glances of confusion and anticipation then joining the existing council structure. "We propose the formation of a new alliance, one based on mutual cooperation rather than hierarchical membership. The Galactic Cooperative, if you will." Ambassador Hyunwoo activated a holographic display, showing a new organizational structure. No species would hold authority over others. Technology and knowledge would be shared freely. Conflicts would be resolved through discussion and consensus, rather than force. "And if consensus cannot be reached," asked Councillor Zephyr, "then we agree to disagree and find ways to coexist anyway." Ambassador Hyunwoo replied with a slight smile. Humanity has had plenty of practice with that approach. The proposal was radical, challenging thousands of years of Galactic's political structure. Yet as the council delegates considered it, they realized that humanity had already demonstrated the principles in action. Despite having every justification for conquest or revenge, humans had chosen partnership. The vote was closer than the council membership offer had been, but it passed. 6 months later, the Galactic Cooperative held its first General Assembly on a neutral space station built using a combination of human intuitive engineering and traditional council. Precision manufacturing representatives from 63 species attended, including several that had never been part of the original council structure. Fleet Admiral Sujin, now serving as the Cooperative's first rotating military coordinator, looked out at the assembled delegates with satisfaction. The Galactic Council had declared humans below average suitable only for manual labor. They had been right about one thing. Humanity was definitely not like other species. They had been spectacularly wrong about everything else. As the assembly began its first session discussing joint exploration missions and collaborative research projects, Admiral Sujin reflected on the journey from rejection to leadership. Humanity had proven that being different was not a weakness, it was exactly what the galaxy needed. The universe was about to become a much more interesting place. In the end, the Galactic Council had gotten exactly what they deserved. They had judged humanity as inferior and found themselves ruled by their own prejudices. Humanity had simply chosen to rule through inspiration instead of intimidation, and that made all the difference.